this video is going to be divided into two parts. I'm first going to be talking about how to handle the group assignment, that's the theoretical aspect of it, and then I'm going to be talking about the presentation aspect. So let's start with the theoretical aspect. The first and most important thing you must do whenever the lecturer divides you into groups is to unanimously choose a group leader. If the lecturer, in the process of dividing you into groups, chooses a group leader for you, that is completely fine. But if it doesn't, then you have to unanimously choose that group head. This means that if one person volunteers to be a group head, every other person in the group has to be satisfied with it. If not, you guys have to unanimously pick that group head. The next thing you should do is to meet up. It can be a physical meeting, it can be an online meeting. So by the time you guys are meeting up, everybody should have done like a little reading about the work. You guys should have an idea of what the assignment is about, what the lecturer wants you to do. And for the group head or the group leader in this case, it is important for you to understand the objective of the work, what the lecturer wants you to achieve by giving you this group assignment. That's one. Two is to understand how to divide the work. So you must understand the topic to an extent of being able to divide it into subtopics and divisions, whether the way it is in a particular textbook or the way it is not. Divide the work into subtopics and headings that you can share to different group members. The third thing that must happen is for the group leader to actually share the work. After he or she must have divided the work into subtopics, is now to attach each subtopic to a person. It is important for the group leader to consider the strengths of each group member. If you don't have any idea about their academic capacity or you don't know them at all, it is completely fine, because at the end of the day, it's a group work and what must be done must be done. If you know that somebody is very, very good, you might want to give them something that relates to the main body of the work rather than the introductory aspect of the work. It is important for you to make sure that the sharing must be explicit. If you are watching this video and it happens that you're not the group leader, please make sure to inform your group leader about these things. It is important that the sharing must be explicit. You cannot have a group assignment and tell everybody to just send in their part. Everybody is going to send the same thing and nobody is going to touch the important aspect of the work, because people are just going to be copying from the internet, pasting to you. Some people are even going to send it in a way that it is so obvious, like they just couldn't help themselves to hide the fact that they copied and pasted. So don't just tell everybody to send what they think. If you tell everybody to send their work individually, then each person is going to send a brief summary of the work, and that's what everybody's going to say, brief summary of the work. So how then do you compile? You end up doing all the work yourself. So if the topic you want to talk about, for instance, is family, right? Don't just tell everybody to bring something on family. Everybody's going to bring the same thing. Give one person the introductory aspect of family. Give another person the origin, the history and origin of family. Give another person the types of family. Give another person the divisions of family. So the part that has been dedicated to each student to handle will be the parts that they will eventually present. Next thing is to give deadline. Do not leave the assignment open-ended, because if you do that, if the presentation is literally tomorrow, some people are just going to be submitting that money. You have to make the deadline so close-ended. Don't just say the assignment is due on the 17th of November. Tell them that the assignment is due on the 17th of November 2024 by 6 p.m. So by 6 p.m., if you are 10 on the group, there must be 10 well-researched, well-written, and well-referenced documents in the group chat. Remember that after these documents have been sent, compilation and editing will follow. So you have to make due consideration for that when you're choosing deadline for the submission of the assignment. So for instance, if the actual deadline of the assignment, that's the date that you are supposed to submit the assignment, is the 20th of November, it is only proper that the date everybody should send their work should be that the compiler has half of those days to do the work. Let me explain what I'm saying. So if you give everybody 7 days to do the assignment, 7 days to do your research, write out your work and send the document to the group, the person that's going to compile the work must receive at least half of that 7 days that every other person gets. So 3 or 4 days. So my point is that you cannot be giving everybody 20 days to get the assignment done, and the person that is compiling has to compile today because the assignment is due tomorrow. Then that person has to stay up late just because they got the part of compiling. So make sure that the person that is compiling gets half of the days that other people get the work done, right? So you need to consider that in choosing deadline for submission, because compilation and editing must follow before submission. You must encourage everyone to participate. A little bit of threat does the work, especially for unresponsive members, telling them that if they do not participate, or if they do not send a well-written or well-researched document, if they do not reference properly, if they do not show that it was not lifted, right, you are not going to include their names in the list for submission, or you're going to report them to the lecturer. A little bit of threat and firmness gets the work done. If somebody is still like unresponsive after that, you might want to get into their DM and talk to them directly, maybe a call, maybe physical meeting, or just a message, that they've been unresponsive, whether they've been seeing the message or not, and you need them to get, into the work because it's a group work. If they have a valid reason for not doing so, maybe they are sick. If you are nice enough in your group, you guys can agree to just cover up for that person and get it done. But if it's that the person has no valid reason, then you might want to actually remove that person name from the group, or report them to the lecturer, or threaten to do so. The next thing to do is follow-ups. You must check in regularly. You cannot tell them on the 10th of November that the assignment is due on the 17th, and then for the next 6 to 7 days the group is just quiet. As the group leader, it is your responsibility to constantly check in, right? So if you give them the assignment on the 10th, on the 12th of November, tell them, oh, hope you've started your work. Don't forget that the deadline is 17th, blah blah blah, by 6 p.m. right? On the 15th of November, send in a message, tell them that in 2 days' time the work will be due and it must be submitted in 2 days' time because of the person that is compiling. And then on the 17th in the morning, that's like before 6 p.m., you send them a message again that for those of them that are yet to send, because obviously before that time, before 17th 6 p.m., some people would have sent their work. You can tag on the group those who are yet to send their work, that they should not forget, because I tell you that even on the 17th of November, there will be one person that is yet to start the work. Emphasize quality over quantity. It's not a matter of writing 5 pages. The 5 pages, are they sat? Are they well written? Are they well referenced? The 5 pages, are they solid? So emphasize quality over quantity. Don't make it look like if somebody sends 1 page or 2 pages that they've not done anything. In fact, it is better for the work to not even be so many pages, because if not, they'll end up repeating what they've said before or going into another person's part. And that's why I prefer lecturers that even give like pages, like, oh, your work must not be less than 20 pages. Like they don't like stress. In that kind of situation, yes, if the lecturer says that the work should not be more than 20 pages, for instance, right? And you guys are 10 in your group, to save yourself stress, put it there that nobody must submit a work that is more than 2 pages. Because when the whole work is 20 pages and somebody is sending 5 pages, 7 pages, that means they're giving you extra work, because you have to literally read the work again, edit a whole 7 pages into 2 pages. So put it there that nobody work must exceed 2 pages. It is even better if it's less. If anyone sends a bad work that you know is going to give the compiler stress, please, I beg, tell the person to make necessary corrections or to do it again. Don't leave the work to whoever is going to compile. Do your own part well, right? And just make the work easy for everybody. And then for unresponsive members, before you take like real actions, like maybe reporting them, maybe removing their names, be sure that they are not going through something emotional, all of those stuff, just so you don't appear to be mean. Be sure that they do not have a valid reason for not being responsive on the group. Usually it doesn't get past the stage of you threatening them, but if for any reason they still do not take corrections, then you can take necessary steps. So now let's get into presentation. The first thing to note for presentation is that the order of presentation has to be in the order of research. So in my class, what we would rather do is that everybody in the group actually speaks. Like, we don't just pick two persons to do the whole presentation. I mean, of course, except if your lecturer explicitly states that all of you cannot speak and you should pick maybe just 1 to 5 persons to speak. But if by any case there is no mention of that, everybody in the group speaks. The part that everybody researched on is the part they are going to present. So whoever researched on the introduction to family is going to present that. For instance, the person who compiled, right, really doesn't have a part for presentation. If somebody just did the monetary aspect, the only thing they did, Pablo, is to print and they didn't really have any part, then that's where the group leader has to work again by joining them with somebody to take a particular part together. If the lecturer insists that one or two persons should present, or maybe because the work is not so voluminous, it is important that the persons who do the presentations are unanimously picked by the group. There's no anarchy here. The grades are for everyone. The next thing is for you to know who you are before and who you are after, just so everything is organized. It is best for you guys when you come out to even line up in that order. Introduction is here, definition is here, types is here, kind is here, whatever. Then the next thing you should never do during presentation is to pile on. Do not do pile on, because when you pile on, you make it look like Wasabi, like the person that just presented before you did not do a good job. Now, what is pylon, you might ask? Pylon is maybe when it's my turn to speak, I'm not like, so before I go into my part, let me quickly add to what Bola said. Oh, let me quickly explain further what Bola said. So let me expatiate on what she said before I move to your own. Don't pile on. Don't add to what they've said. Don't expatiate. Leave it like they've said their own, they've said their own. If you feel like for the purpose of grade saving, you need to do that, then don't mention their names. Like, just go into it straight. So don't say, let me quickly explain what Bola. You're literally trying to say that Bola did not explain it well, right? And subconsciously, if the lecturer is giving individual marks, so maybe group mark and individual marks for presentation, you might affect Bola's mark without even recognizing. The next thing that you should not do during your presentation is to not use filler acts or words. I know filler words is popular. Everybody says don't use filler words like when you're presenting, right? But filler acts is like not publicized. And even for me that I'm a student, when I'm sitting in class and I'm seeing any of my classmates using filler acts, I'm like, bro, please. Filler acts is like when they are doing something distracting repetitively. Hey, like they're repeating an act that is distracting. So for instance, they're explaining what a family is and they're like, so a family is a group of first time and any other thing. So a family is like, when people say a family, they're talking about man and woman consistently being together and all of those stuff. So there are different types of family. Stop putting your hand on your face. Feel like it's when I'm talking and I'm like, education is very important, but then you must learn how to have education. Well, bruh, what's stop doing filler acts? They are distracting and they're just annoying. Like, then the last thing you should not do before I move into what you should do is to speak for more than 5 minutes. Don't speak for more than 5 minutes. You're not the only one speaking. There are still many people that are coming to speak behind you. And then when you speak for more than 5 minutes, you're boring the people that are listening to you and you're getting those that are standing waiting for their turn. You're getting them tired. Try to wrap everything you want to say between 3 to 4 minutes max and leave that place. Give other people chance. Imagine you come speak for like 3 minutes and then another person comes speak for like 3 minutes. Everything is moving so fast. But when you are coming, only you speaking for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, everybody is like, sis, wrap it up, please. There's still a number of people behind you. Except you are the only one presenting for your group, right? Or you are two. But when it's like everybody in the group or like more than two people are presenting in the group, just wrap everything you want to say before 5 minutes. Like, just so you don't bore the other students that are listening to you and you don't get your other group members tired. And so everybody just has enough time to say whatever they have to say. Because when you speak for 5 minutes, there's no way you're not going to eat into the time of another group member. Another bonus point I'm going to give you is to start with a hook. Start with a research, a statistics, a quote, something. Start with it before you get into your work, but don't start with it before you say your name. Because when you just come and you want to make it sound bing bing, you just stand. 95% of the people, yeah, lecturer is like, yes, madam, you didn't introduce yourself. So please say your name before you get into your hook. Don't do hook, name, then the work. Don't do it. Then the next thing is to not repeat what someone has said. If perchance somebody said what was a part of your work, just keep it and move on. Like, don't waste time. Don't say what somebody has said. Wrap it up. So the next thing you should do is to introduce the next person while you're leaving. So as you're about to go, you can say, so the next person fate will be continuing from where I stopped, or we'll be picking it up from where I stopped, and we'll be discussing the kinds of family that we have, right? So just do let's get ready. Let's be waiting for faith before faith comes in. And the last thing you must do is to understand what you want to present. You must be able to explain it without looking at your phone. Now, there's nothing wrong in taking your phone along with you to do the presentation, looking at it some time. But when you are reading directly from the phone, just reading, you're not even looking at all. Like, you're not even giving us eye contact. You're just reading. I'm like, please just move. We have the document. Don't worry. We'll check it. Just leave. Understand it, right? So even if you are going to look at your phone, of course, you look at your phone, then you speak, or you can read it, then explain, and all of this. Just that reading it and explaining it just takes time. Understand your part before that day. So when you're speaking, you are sure that you know what you're saying to us, and you can be able to give us relatable examples. And then if by chance anybody asks you any question that is not exactly in your work, because you have an understanding, you will not disgrace yourself. If you liked this video, don't forget to actually like it, like give it a thumbs up here, and then click the subscribe button to stay glued for more education related content. I'll see you next time. Bye.